Championship weekend in NASCAR means a trip back to where the season started, in southern Florida. But we're not at Daytona this time, we're at Homestead-Miami Speedway. 4 drivers, Guillermo Alvarez, Jacob Fife, Randy Fayash, and Adam de Blasio, will face off tonight to determine the All-In Restoration Truck Series champion. All you have to do? Finish in front of the other 3 championship contenders. Sound easy? It's not. Homestead's variable banking means drivers can use the bottom line, the middle line, the top line, the Earnhardt Jr. line, the Larson line. Every inch of asphalt is in play here tonight. 134 laps. Right here will determine our champion. And Finian, if I know any place to determine a champion, Homestead-Miami is certainly the place to do it.
Yeah, we saw it in real life too. Put on some fantastic racing in the final 3 rounds of the National Series, and then in the 3-wide truck series as well that we covered, it put on fantastic shows. So I expect nothing left from these drivers tonight. We got 18 of them ready to take the grid, but only 4 of them, like we were talking about, only 4 of them are pretty much going to be racing for the championship, and the only ones that really matter.
Yeah, 4 drivers, the ones that are highlighted in red, in fact, on the left-hand side of the screen in that ticker. The ones that are highlighted in red are your championship contenders, and the one that finishes ahead of the other 3 will be crowned champion at the end of tonight. Finian, it's been a long road for these guys this season, and we went to Martinsville a couple weeks ago, and there was a couple shakeups there, and one driver that is notably not here is Caleb Eisenhower, driver the number 51. Toyota, that Safe Light colors on that car, and could not make it here this week at Homestead, so unfortunately had to give up that final 4 position. And in his place, Randy Fayash.
Yeah, he was able to just ike in that position, finish behind Alvarez at Martinsville points-wise by 2 points. So he's going to find himself in the championship 4. But notably, what major driver who didn't make it, who didn't qualify in is Sam Nieto. And currently the pole sitter now is qualifying is underway.
Yeah, well, that's such a shame for that 22. It was running so well. And if I recall correctly, Finian came into the chase as the top seed and had a couple bad races and fell down the order very quickly. And unfortunately just missed that final 4 spot. But as we've seen in NASCAR and in other series, it doesn't really matter how your season goes. If you can't put the final couple races together, it's not going to result in you having a championship trophy. Renato Postigo in the number 69 having a good run, about 22 thousandths of a second off of Sam Nieto's time. Guillermo Alvarez as well, P4. James Hudson, an unfamiliar name to us, running P3 in that number 53 truck. Adam de Blasio, another one of our championship contenders, and in that 48 Chevrolet, sitting P6 on the grid right in front of Jacob Fife in the number 36 truck. And again, de Blasio and Fife, arguably our favorites walking in here, but we've seen Alvarez have a ton of speed lately.
Yeah, honestly, he was sitting really good in practice. I think the fastest out of the 4. So, and still currently fastest out of the 4 in qualifying as well. So, definitely looking to be the favorite for tonight. And honestly, he was kind of lacking in pace the last 2 rounds. So, he does really need to step up, and it looks like he's doing just that tonight.
So with about a minute remaining here in qualifying, you see Sam Nieto still out on the racetrack trying to improve his time, but he won't need to. No one else is out there making time right now. He's got pole by 22 thousandths of a second, and he'll start out front. And again, I think this truck probably would have been the one to beat. He always seems to start up front, and the notable exception was last week at Martinsville. Just could not quite get the speed out of that truck he needed. Ended up finishing, I believe, 7th or 8th. Just not a really good night for that 22 last week. But here again, we're going to the 1.5 mile tracks where he seems to succeed. But, Finney, we talk about Homestead-Miami being a driver's racetrack. It's not that grippy out there, but you can use every lane from the bottom to the top. But as the tires wear out, where are you going to want to be?
I'd say definitely you're going to see a lot more guys migrate to the top. Maybe not so much in 1 and 2 because you can really run the bottom and mid lane there throughout the entire run. But definitely in 3 and 4, you're going to probably see some guys migrate to the top, try to conserve their tires throughout the run. But like we were talking about, you can use pretty much any lane. But for the first few laps, these guys are going to probably migrate around the bottom side because that's just the quickest as they get up to speed.
Checkered flag in the air here at qualifying, and Sam Nieto in the number 22 truck right on pole alongside Renato Postigo in the 69 truck. So we'll get them gridded up and ready to go racing for 134 laps. Finney, this is not a short race by any stretch of the imagination. So we typically see long green flag runs here, and cautions are few and far between. So as a driver, how do you plan out? Can you save tire around here, or do you kind of have to use everything you got?
I think definitely you got to save tires around here. This track is extremely abrasive. It might not look like it. We know tracks like Atlanta are extremely abrasive and rough on the tires, but Homestead really does use your tires up a lot. So you might start seeing guys already start running the top lane just to conserve their tires for later on in the run when they can use.
All right, let's take a look at our race information here tonight. It is 78 degrees in the air. That's in Fahrenheit. 86 degrees Fahrenheit on the racetrack. So relatively cool temperatures here for a late afternoon in Homestead, Florida. Partly cloudy conditions. Wind 2 miles an hour out of north. And again, 4 turns, a 1.5 mile racetrack. Not a typical 1.5 miler, though. This is definitely a different shape. It was reconfigured in the late 90s after John Nemechek's crash. And that has been reconfigured now to a more oval-shaped racetrack instead of the Indianapolis style that it was before. But Finian, this place, we talk about it, again, as I mentioned, being a driver's racetrack, but I think already championship favorite. I think it'd be silly not to say that 36 of Jacob Fife is the best one out here.
Yeah, he's definitely been probably one of the most consistent out of our all of our championship runners so in this 5-week stretch. So I think, yeah, he's definitely one to pick. I'd say just off of pace alone, it's got to be the 83 of Alvarez though tonight. And also, where is De Blasio? De Blasio right ahead of Fife. He's also sitting as a favorite as well. But I think definitely the underdog has got to be the 76 of Fayash because he's currently sitting back there in 17th. So he's got a long way to move up the grid.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at our starting grid, and that'll roll across the bottom of your screen. But again, we got 2 Chevrolets on that front row. Tonight, Finian, the draft. Now, the trucks here have a little bit less power than the Xfinity and Cup cars, so they punch a pretty big hole in the air. Can you use the draft to your advantage around here, or is it more of a typical 1.5 mile racetrack where it doesn't seem to matter too much?
Yeah, no, you can definitely use the draft around here, and it's so much so that when you're talking about these trucks putting a big hole in the air, it's so much so that even in the corners too, if you're right up behind someone, you might start losing a little bit of grip there. You're losing that much air off the nose, and especially to that giant spoiler on the back compared to the Xfinity car and the Cup car. They don't punch as big of a hole compared to these trucks.
So Renato Postigo in that outside lane, and again, the initial starts, I think it'd be you're going to see a lot of drivers take that bottom line, and because on fresh tires, that bottom groove really is the place to be. It's the short way around. This racetrack is wide, so on fresh grippy tires, you're going to be full throttle off into turn 1, but as the run goes off, as Finian mentioned before, we'll see drivers navigate up the racetrack to the wider line, and it's got a little bit more banking up there. But you're going to see a lot of different lines tonight, and especially on late race restarts, you're going to see a lot of creativity out here, which is why it's so much fun to watch drivers race. But we've all come down, we've broadcasted 5 chase races here for the All-In Restoration Truck Series, and it all comes down to this final race here this season, the 2018 All-In Restoration Truck Series. Pace car pulls off. Renato Postigo and Sam Nieto lead them down. Green flag in the air here at Homestead. Already the 29 truck looks like he's pulled off. That's Alan Pajari there. He's pulled off down to the inside and letting a couple cars go by, but we're already 2 by 2 heading off into turn 1. De Blasio that outside lane following Guillermo Alvarez in the 83.
There's James Hudson. They're following through. He's going to secure 2nd place, and they're going to fall in line as they head down the back straight.
We got Jacob Fife on the inside of Adam De Blasio and Alvarez. Those are 2 championship contenders, and he's to the inside now as we head off into turn 3. Postigo going backwards, already back to 4th, potentially 5th as we come out of turn 4. 3 wide for that spot.
Yeah, it looks like he's starting to get caught out on that outside line. Remember, we talked that guys are going to like that bottom lane early on just to get... it's just faster the first few laps here, so everyone's going to try to move people out to the outside lane and drive around on the inside.
And Guillermo Alvarez in the middle of all that has actually just come out on top, so if the race were to end now, I know he just started, but he's already out in front, and Finian distancing yourself, getting some cars in between you and the other competitors is going to be important here tonight.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's got those 2 guys right in his rear mirror, so he has to try to do as much as he can.
Duel got hit there by the 24 of Chris Schetzler there, and will drop back. Major contact there, almost spun the truck out, but was able to hold on to it. He goes from where he started on the grid, which would have been back in 8th place, all the way back to last place in line 18th for the 88 truck. So contact early as we head back up to the front. Side by side, Colton lands in the 49, and Alvarez battling for that 4th spot.
Looks like Land's going to have to yield that. Here comes De Blasio. Looked like he was trying to make a move to the outside. He's going to settle in, and they're going to continue on the bottom.
Well, look who's right behind De Blasio, Finian. It's that red and black 36 truck, and won a race in the chase. He's been very quick, but the past couple weeks has just been kind of there. He knew he was good on points, just had to wait for the right time to pounce, and now is the time. He moves to the inside of the 48 of De Blasio, but can't quite get it done. A little bit tight there on the bottom.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, too. It's very easy on the top side to defend. You just pinch the guy on the inside, just pinch him down there. and he'll have to pretty much get off the throttle, otherwise he's going to get into you. You see Raul behind the 36 trying to make a...
Out of turn 4 now, completing lap number 4, and Sam Nieto out in front now by 0.2 of a second. We have a lot of battling going on deeper in the field. Chuck Sweeting in the number 65 truck is that white and green machine alongside Camilo Thompson in the 58. And Todd Thomas in the 78. Look at the 65 pulling right in front of the 58 truck of Thompson.
And Sweeting's made some fantastic progress so far. Moved up from 18th to 11th right now, so +7 for that 65. And I don't think we're quite done with seeing him move up to...
Down the front straightaway now, and the inside goes the 78 truck of Todd Thomas. Hooters on board that truck here this week. But out up front, Sam Nieto is just pulling away, and this has got to be a missed opportunity for that 22 truck here, Finney. And again, we mentioned his struggles in the chase. Had a lot of speed coming in, but just could not get the job done. But here he is leading this race by 0.4 of a second. He looks like the obvious favorite to win the race, but unfortunately not going to do a whole lot for him in terms of the championship picture.
Yeah, I think he's wishing that things have went better in his favor the last 2 weeks. Otherwise he would have pretty much been leading the points and the race going in, but he's gonna have to settle to at least try to get the win. And that's another thing too we have to talk about as well, is that if you look right now, top 3 are non-championship competitors right now, and they're leading the race. And a lot of these guys who are not competing for the championship, they're just worried about trying to get a win here. So, and the championship 4, they're gonna have to try to navigate those trucks who really have nothing to lose, while they can lose pretty much everything.
And Jacob Fife going around the inside of Adam de Blasio, but de Blasio's going to get that run, and that's where the high lane starts to come in a couple laps into the run. Once the tires get their grip kind of worn off, you're going to see that upper lane come in, and right now it's more of a defensive groove, but later in the race you're going to see drivers ripping that upper lane and shades of Kyle Larson and using that to pass. So de Blasio hangs on in front of Fife for now, but I don't think that's going to happen later in the run. I think you're going to see Fife try to pass him on the outside and not do so much on the inside lane.
Notably, too, what it's probably leading to these guys liking the bottom side is that it's relatively cool here right now in the late afternoon. It's 87 degrees on the track, so it's a little bit cooler. It's not too hot where these guys are going to be sliding around, so I think that's why guys are liking the bottom side.
Down to the inside, the 78-58. Thompson and Thomas side by side in turns 1 and 2, trying to sort themselves out for 12th place.
These guys have been side by side for a long time, neither one giving up much room, and right behind them is Fayesh in 14th, moved up a few spots from the start, as still continuing to try to move up the grid, but he's got these 2 guys that are ahead of a battling.
And we'll let you know you're releasing your push talk a little bit earlier, so you're cutting off the end of your words there. But Randy Fayesh, yeah, Finney started 19th and now up to 14th place. And he's got a lot of work to do. He's got to get up another 7 spots to even compete with the next guy. Obviously coming in as the underdog, and the truck that was supposed to be in this place was the 51 of Caleb Eisenhower, who again couldn't be here tonight. So Randy Fayesh is, I don't want to say substituting, but he's here in the 51 spirit and competing on his own terms here, but currently running 14th, looking for 13th, a 78 out of control out of turn 4. And look at the 94, Finney, and Alan Rowell way down on the apron on the front straightaway.
Yeah, really trying to make up some ground here. And he's going to continue on in 7th place. Notably, too, the 36 of 5, it looks like he's lost a bit of time to the top part of the grid. He's falling into the clutches of the 24 of Schetzler.
Yeah, last time by had about a 7/10 of a second slower lap than the driver in front, so obvious issue there. And we look behind, we see that 58 truck of Camilo Thompson really starting to run in that high lane. And like I said, we're going to see that more as the run goes on. But I really like that upper lane, entering real high, get off the throttle just for a second, let the car roll, and then you can just get straight back to the throttle and let the banking catch you. And it's pretty fantastic to watch. Side by side for 2nd place now. 53 of James Hudson and Renato Postigo. Postigo went backwards on the initial start and is now trying to claw his way back forward.
Yeah, it's kept some very good, maintain a lot of pace, but he's got to worry about Alvarez right behind him. You see now Alvarez looking to the outside of Postigo. This is for 3rd place here.
Alvarez on the outside. Postigo's just going to give it to him, and Alvarez will drive in on the upper side. Look not too far behind. There's that white and blue 48 truck of de Blasio creeping into the picture. Has a great run on Colton Lands in that 49. Will he look to the inside, or will he wait to make a move on the outside?
And you see a lot of these guys now stacking up, starting to fight for position. There you see 48 de Blasio now starting to look up, just not enough really to get a run there. It seems that this bottom line's really liked by these drivers. You see the 65 or no, the 53 of Hudson got very loose off the corner, lost a lot of speed. Here comes Alvarez.
And as we were watching that, the 49 of Colton Lands kind of got loose off the corner as well, and de Blasio was almost able to turn up underneath him, but couldn't quite do it. Here he comes to the outside off of turn 2. The 49 will have to give him space. No, he chops the nose off, and down to the inside goes de Blasio on the back straightaway.
You can see a lot of these non-championship guys are making it hard for guys like de Blasio and Alvarez. De Blasio goes up the inside. He's going to make that pass now for 5th place.
Yeah, that wasn't not a whole lot of give and take there here early for that 49 truck. So I think de Blasio will continue his climb forward, and here he is now on Renato Postigo, who again is starting to slip backwards after making an initial charge after losing those spots on the first couple laps. You see them working down the back straightaway now. The cars on the outside lane really get that run. You see the 49 up to the rear bumper of the 48, but we get down to turns 3 and 4. And this is kind of no man's land here, Finney. And that middle groove in 3 and 4 is kind of a weird one for a lot of drivers. Most either like to be right in the bottom or right up against that wall.
Yeah, it is kind of no man's land. You can try to arc the corner in some sort of way. That's really the only way you'll get some speed in that part of the track. But yeah, pretty much you do want to run along either the bottom or the top.
Chuck Sweeting continuing his climb forward, now setting his sights on Chris Schetzler in the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet. And Sweeting, again, you mentioned it, Finian, pretty good start for that white and green Chevrolet Silverado.
Yeah, honestly, if a caution were to come out, or these guys are just kind of to get reset as far as their order is concerned, I think that the 65 truck might have something for the top part of the field. The
58 truck of Camilo Thompson just brushed the wall. You caught that all there as he scraped the wall in turns 3 and 4. Not a whole lot of damage there. Just looks like a slight miscalculation in the line. It's so easy to do, but the wall grabs you, Finney, and it's like hitting an arrestor cable on a aircraft carrier. It just stops you dead in your tracks, and it's certainly very distracting as we head back forward. Edwin Blasio now to the inside of Postigo, continuing to move his way back forward.
And if I were Alvarez, I'll be a little bit worried right now. De Blasio's starting to make up a lot of time. And I see Postigo got a little bit loose. Going to get that huge run off the corner. He's going to beat de Blasio to the line. But de Blasio is still trying to work on the inside of Postigo.
In turns 1 and 2 now, I find turns 1 and 2 to be more highline dominant than 3 and 4. Probably more so in the Cup and Xfinity cars than the trucks, but you see now Postigo able to drive around. But this is turn 3 and 4 is more of a choice corner. You can really drive this corner a lot differently. It looks on paper like it's symmetrical, Finian, but we know from driving it, it's definitely not.
Yeah, we know from driving it is not. You were telling me the other day, too, that this is one of the last tracks to be kind of designed in an old school way, not through computer simulations or anything. So that's why both sides of the track drive differently.
Yeah, certainly not. I believe, if I recall correctly, Chicagoland was the first use of CAD in track surface construction. So, again, someone can fact check me on that and tell me I'm wrong, but I probably am. But Homestead, obviously not perfectly symmetrical and makes things different. Look at de Blasio all the way up against that outside line, and this is something the NBC crew was talking about all weekend, Finian. Do you want to go up there this early? I mean, it's a risk for sure.
It was a risk, though, but it's going to pay off. It got a huge run. Postigo slipped off the corner, and that lost him some speed. Here comes de Blasio with the dive up the inside. He's going to take away 4th position.
It was a little bit aggressive there. He pulls up in front of Postigo. Postigo almost tried to slip it up the outside. Couldn't quite get it done. Now he's under attack from the 49 of Colton Landis. And down the back straightaway now, de Blasio sets his sights. That yellow and blue truck in front of him, that's Alvarez, and that is the championship spot if he can get up there.
Yeah, indeed. I honestly kind of wonder if de Blasio is going to probably wait on and just kind of stay in the 83 shadows, because he doesn't have to necessarily get there yet. They still got a little over 100 laps left to go. So if you can at least maintain your distance to the car you're trying to, truck in this case, that you're trying to reach, I think you're in a good spot. And I think de Blasio knows that he doesn't really need to force the issue yet.
Yeah, certainly no need to force the issue. Very early here, not even 10% of the way done. We're working lap number 21 of 134. And pit cycle, probably around 30 to 45 laps is when I would expect them to come into pit. Look at Chuck Sweeting now working the outside lane in 3 and 4. That's Chris Schetzler. He's been trying to get around him for a couple laps here. But yeah, pit stops here, Finian. Another thing that's important, we have to use the access roads here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. And that is certainly a distraction and an annoyance for some drivers.
Oh yeah, it is definitely a pain, especially entering in 3 and 4, because you try to slow down a lot to make sure you get down there, and then some drivers will try to speed up in the middle of that access road. They might end up running off the track, and that's a black flag and a lot of time lost. So it could be a really big trouble spot for some of these guys if we were to go under green flag pit stops.
So the 65 and 24 get pretty close to contacting each other out of turn 2. We return to see them battling out of turn 4. Here comes the 73 of Jason Miller, but as we're watching this, Finian, that 36 truck of Jacob Fife going the wrong direction.
And someone who's going the right direction, the 48 de Blasio has now caught Alvarez. He's been catching by about a tenth a lap, and he's just ready to make the pass. He's going to look to the inside here down the back straightaway.
That 48 truck is on a mission right now, and last time by, it ran the exact same lap time as your leader, Sam Nieto. So that 48 truck on the move to the inside in 3 and 4. We'll have to see how this works out. Maybe side draft down the front straightaway.
Yeah, he's going to have to try pretty much the only thing he can do. You see Alvarez got a huge run. There comes the ball. He's going to chuck it up in there.
Just behind them, you saw in the corner of your screen, Jacob Fife throwing a block on Alan Rowell driving down into turn 1. Fife pulled a slider in turns 3 and 4 to get back around him, but completed the pass, had to get a little defensive off into turn 1 as we watch the battle for second.
Yeah, I think Fife knows that he's really got to start picking up the pace now. Lost a lot of pace the last 10 or so laps. Fell back a little bit, so he's got to make that time up now because these two guys up ahead are battling for the championship, and he's kind of left out to dry here.
And not a whole lot in terms of pit strategy you can play here. You're going to want 4 tires and fuel every time you come down pit road here tonight. So 2 tires not even on the table. It's going to be 4 Goodyears and Sunoco fuel every time you're down pit lane. So if you're a guy like Jacob Fife or you're Randy Fayash, you're going to need to pull something out of your hat, and it's going to be in the form of speed if you want to win this championship. Sam Nieto now up to a 1.3 second lead over Guillermo Alvarez and Adam de Blasio. Working lap number 25 now side by side behind them for 5th. James Hudson and Colton Lands almost got together. Actually, there might have been some contact with the quarter panel between the 49 and the 53.
It might have been. These guys have been side by side with each other for quite a bit, so you can imagine the patience wearing out just a little bit. But behind them, you see that, as they almost hit each other off the corner, trying to regain their trucks. So I was going to say, there's Fife right behind these guys.
Fife back up to 7th. I believe that's where he started, so not a whole lot of progress, unlike de Blasio and Alvarez. Both of those guys improving their starting positions. Look at the 53, leaving tire marks in turn 4, setting it in a drift, but now it's going to leave him open to attack from Jacob Fife.
And one guy is going to start being in the attack very soon. I've been watching him last few laps. Chuck Sweeting's been putting times almost identical to Nieto up ahead. So that white and green truck right here, I don't know what paint scheme you're supposed to have on their Chuck, but it's not working. But you're definitely on the charge right now. And he's got a few trucks ahead he's going to try to pass.
Fife pulls right across the nose of James Hudson. And it's almost like someone flipped a toggle switch inside the truck in that diehard Chevrolet Silverado. He just started going forward. He was back in 8th a couple laps ago, moved up 2 spots in under 5 laps. And
I kind of wonder now, was this Fife kind of those last 15 laps or so, was he actually trying to save some of his stuff? And I think that's honestly what we're probably seeing here, is that he's saving some of his equipment here, start gunning it now, try to pass these guys ahead and drive his way back up to the top 2.
Pass for second just happened. De Blasio just got around Alvarez using that bottom lane, pulled right up in front of Alvarez on corner exit, and Guillermo couldn't quite get that car rotated down enough to launch another attack. So moved De Blasio up to second and put him in the top championship spot for now. Chuck Sweeting, as you mentioned, Finian, now up. Now we're going to not pull the camera away from second place as it's still pretty close up here, but Chuck Sweeting up to 9th place. Jacob Fife up to 6th. And Alvarez not giving this up just yet here, Finian.
Oh, Sweeting loose on the back straightaway. He's through the grass.
Oh, spinning! And caution is out.
Caution.
Oh, don't back it into the wall, Chuck. Oh, he's going to bounce off it, and there's going to be some pretty heavy rear end damage to that 65 truck. So Chuck Sweeting wrecked here early at Homestead. We were just talking about his progress and how much he made in the early stages. And just like that, it goes away. That's rare for Chuck. I mean, it's...
no, he's very, very established driver across many different series. It's kind of, like you're saying, it's rare to see him make a mistake like that. I think it was just him pushing the issue really hard here, trying to make up some time.
Yeah, so we're watching the replay now, and Sweeting's down on the inside, really just trying to throttle up. And I think that's the problem, is you get down to the inside lane, you don't have the grip down there to maintain that. So you see the grass flying, and then he just didn't quite get on the brakes in time, couldn't quite get it in gear to spin the tires forward before he bounced off that wall. But let's ride on board here and see what Chuck sees on board here. and just got behind on the steering pretty early and was not able to keep up with it, but looped around and you're safe here, but I think you just missed a shift when he was trying to put it back in gear and unfortunately took that 65 truck out of the running for now.
Yeah, meanwhile, we catch up with everybody. Pit stops are underway and everyone's down, as you can imagine. We're 30 laps into this run. Good, nice little 30-lap stretch.
Oh, see, the 3 truck spun. Cody Griffin spun out on pit lane there, Finian.
Oh, yeah. So he's trying to get that back, pointed the right direction.
All right, so we've already lost quite a bit of time, and we were lapping about a second slower than our initial takeoff speed here, so I expect the tires to be extremely important, but who gets the best pit stop? Will it be the 22 Nieto? Can he hold on to that dominating lead? But look who's already out. De Blasio racing the 49 truck, but it looks like Nieto's going to get out, as will Postigo. So Postigo will come out in second. De Blasio third. Colton lands fourth. Alvarez drops to fifth. Fife holds on to sixth. And a couple other drivers shifting around here some. But Postigo gained a bunch of spots on pit lane.
Yeah, great job by his picker to get it done right now. Put him back in a good spot here.
Yeah, I actually had the best stop on that sequence with only a 14.1. So was a full 0.8 of a second faster than Nieto's pit crew. And 0.3 of a second faster than the 49 of Colton Land's pit crew here, Finian. But I'd like to try to find Adam de Blasio to dial up here, so we'll grab him. And Finian, if you want to take care of that for me, we'll talk to Adam de Blasio here in just a moment. Hey, Adam de Blasio, Kyle from SimTV. You got a copy?
I do.
All right, well, so far, so good for you, the number 48 truck. You went from 6th to 3rd on that run, and you were absolutely flying towards the end. We only have about a half a lap till we go back green here, but how's the truck handling so far?
There's a lot of grip in the beginning of a run, and then it gets pretty sketchy loose, especially if you don't run a line correctly or if you don't take care of that right rear. So look for it to get a little sketchy after lap like 20 again this run, but it's a fun truck after 20 laps.
All right, Adam, we'll let you get back to work here, and good luck out there. We'll be starting on the inside behind Nieto.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Finian, so that was our 3rd place driver and current leader in the championship standings as we head now to lap 33.
Yeah, nice little quick caution that we had here, and yeah, everyone's going to get lined back up to go. So we got 18 trucks on the lead lap. Only one of them is retired. That's Camilo Thompson.
Yeah,
7 laps down.
Had some right side damage after contact with the wall, so that's why that 58 truck is out. Green flag back in the air here, lap number 33. We're about 10% of the way done. That's not accurate at all. My math is totally wrong.
Say that. You need to check your math on that.
Okay, well, green flag's back in the air anyway. This is why I'm not a math major. Oh, the 49 truck's loose! Spinning! Collects the 53, and behind them they're crashing, and looks like we might get all the chase drivers through that. Is Fayash in it there, Finian?
I can't tell in the swarm of this. I don't think... No, he's fine. But speaking of chase drivers, I think that actually started with the 36 of Fife.
Yeah, the 49 is the first one I saw go around, so let's go take a look at that here. So drama on the restart on lap number 33. And we'll get a view from maybe up above that might give us a better perspective on what happened here. So the 36, the 49 was right on the Postigo's rear bumper here. Gets checked up, and Fife just catches the rear quarter panel, sends the 49 around, and behind him they just kind of stack up. And then you see the rest of the field getting collected here. Not a whole lot of damage to the trucks involved, but certainly not a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it was just enough of a hit just to knock the 49 around. And unfortunately, it involved a lot of drivers.
And uncharacteristic of Homestead, we don't typically see this kind of action. The track is wide enough where you can kind of race with enough space around you, but on the restart here, not quite enough. And so contact and drama early for several drivers. You see a lot of damage to that 49 Piedmont Chevrolet Silverado and the 06 of Jay Heichman.
Yeah, all of them pretty much have to come down pit road to try to fix their damage. And I'm sure they're not happy with this at all.
So caution number 2 here at Homestead-Miami, the season finale for the All-In Restoration Truck Series. Your current leader is Sam Nieto, Adam de Blasio, Guillermo Alvarez, both those trucks competing for the championship. Again, all the drivers highlighted in red. De Blasio, Alvarez, Fife, and Fayash are your championship 4. Whoever finishes in front of the other 3 will be crowned your champion at the end of the night. 134 laps. We're 35 in here, Finian. But, again, caution's unusual here. I don't think it'd be weird to see the rest of the race go green. So drivers maybe looking at their fuel numbers, trying to see how many more stops they need to make.
Yeah, I mean, we were approaching green flag pit stop last time by until that last one came out, until the initial one came out. But yeah, I had a good green flag stretch once these guys got spread out. And this is just kind of one of those things where it was a small, not mistake really by any of the drivers, just a small incident that happened, and everyone just kind of ended up happening in front of a lot of these guys. So yeah, it could definitely go green from here to the end, and it wouldn't be surprising. All 3 national series pretty much had a completely green race. Actually, 2 of them did, except for the Cup series. But yeah, we can definitely expect a green flag run to the end here.
The 53 of James Hudson was doing really well prior to that contact. Now, one thing I just noticed about the 53, Finian, we right on board. Absolute silence. Got the engine shut off. Potentially thinking about the long game here. I like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of those things when you start having when your truck's a little bit damaged and you know that you're going to suffer a little bit on speed, a little bit of grip and handling and little things here and there. You know your truck's probably not going to be on top performance. The best way to try to do it is play the strategy game and try to win in that department. And we saw Kyle Busch almost won the championship by doing that.
Yeah, well, you got to have a good truck too. Now, that's something Kyle Busch did not have. Didn't have a good car on Sunday. Anyway, if we look back up towards the front, I think one thing you're not going to see is those Championship 4 gamble. They're not going to want to throw things out the window unless, say, you're Fayash. Now, he's up to 9th after getting through that wreck, but if you're not having a great day, the only option you're going to have is to throw a Hail Mary. Whereas Alvarez and de Blasio, even Fife, they'll probably just run this out the old-fashioned way. Not much risk, or not much reward for the risk there, pull on a fuel strategy. A different fuel strategy than the rest of the field. Pace car rolls out at turn 4. It'll leave us for the 3rd time here tonight. We've had 2 cautions in 36 laps. Long way to go here at Homestead, and Sam Nieto brings them back down to the green flag here at lap number 37. Getting through the gears here.
Got a pretty good start on the outside.
Yeah, you mentioned the good restart there, but get down to turn 1. It's the short way around, and Nieto blasts out in front. Alvarez follows him through side by side for 2nd.
And here comes Fife also trying to follow behind Alvarez. And there you see 3 of your championship 4 in the top 4. And Duke get out.
It's amazing how the cream rises to the top here. And look at the 83 dogging the rear bumper of Nieto. Almost contact there in turn 3, right on the rear bumper. That's trusting your instincts here. He's got that good line. Will he have help from the 36? But look at Adam de Blasio now, right on the rear bumper of the 22. Has that draft down the long straightaway.
Yeah, but not many places to go. He's going to try to move to the outside, but it's just not. It's a little bit too early for that line to work.
Down the back straightaway now. We'll watch from the front straight. You see the run that high side gives, and de Blasio pulls ahead. Will Alvarez follow him up there? Postigo sitting in 4th wants to follow Adam de Blasio through, and will throttle up early.
Alvarez actually had a let off mid corner, so it's going to be de Blasio getting 2nd place. Alvarez is going to have to fall in behind for 3rd. Postigo up to 4th and Fife down to 5th.
Yeah, Fife really needs to get by the 69 truck to be right with the other 2 championship drivers inside the top 5. And there's Chris Schetzler, not going to make it easy. To the outside goes Schetzler in the 24.
Yeah, Fife actually gassed it up pretty early, trying to get around Postigo, but had to let off, otherwise it would have doored him. That's allowed Schetzler to get us outside.
Through turns 3 and 4, there's Alan Rowell. He's coming back in that spam Toyota Tundra. To the outside lane he goes. Who's going to have the help? It's not going to be Fife in the 36. All alone. Out up front, Nieto now still leads by 0.3 of a second over de Blasio and Alvarez. They're nose to tail. Then Postigo, Fife, Schetzler, and Rowell. Your top 7. Wow, off of turn 2. Some contact there. The 3 of Cody Griffin. The 43 of William Dunn.
Yeah, that could have gotten very ugly. You see Cody Griffin now go to the inside of Rowell, trying to get that is for 7th place.
Dunn had to take a crappy line into turn 3 because he was all off kilter from the contact. Slides up in front of the 88 of Michael Duell. We've seen that 43 truck get involved in a ton of wrecks here in the chase season, and not a whole lot of them have been his doing. He's gotten caught up in a lot of messes here, trying to regain some of that confidence back in that 43 team. Look at behind them, too. That's the 53 of James Hudson trying to claw his way back forward side by side with Todd Thomas. You couldn't slip a piece of paper between them in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, you can see that 53 still has some life to it, a little bit of dents and bruises here and there, but that truck is still strong and still fast, so he's trying to move up through the field as quickly as possible.
And that 3's got some nose damage. Look at the 94 kind of checking him out the door there. Off into turn 1, side by side now, duel. And the 88 and the 78 are side by side. Oh, look at the 78 drifting up the racetrack. And this is so hard to do. If you're on the outside, Finney, you can't see the guy to your left. It's hard. I mean, he could be right on your door. He could be 4 lanes down. And however you drive, you got to be careful and conservative not to drive into the guy on your door.
I was going to say, you have to know how much to pinch. So you see Raul check up on the outside, made Griffin check up. We're almost 4 wide down the front straightaway. 3 wide.
3 wide, the 3, the 43, the 78. Now to 2 wide. Off into turn 1, the 43 shoving Alan Rowell down into turn 1. Side by side, and that's really no man's land there where William Dunn is.
I was going to say, we're a little bit away from Daytona, but it looks like a pack race right here tonight with these guys midfield.
2 by 2 by 2 by 1. The 88 in duel shoving William Dunn forward in that outside lane. Drives right up to the rear bumper. Look at the 94 Rowell. He's on the inside of the 3, but can't quite get that pass done there.
Yeah, this is what we talk about. It's kind of tough to make moves, especially when you get boxed into your line and you really don't have many places to go. You see the 43 trying to navigate it, as well as the 88 of Michael Duell.
You're not missing anything up front. This is where the racing is. Back here for 8th place. William Dunn on the outside. 3 wide again up at turn 2.
See, Raul just get in front of Duell in the 88. I'm not sure Duell liked that too much. He tried to look to the inside there. You see the 53 also looking for a position.
Aggressive racing. Drivers taking everything they can get here. It's still early in the race here. We're not even to lap 50 yet. These guys are driving like there's less than half a lap to go as we round turn 4. Here comes the 88. A duel shoving the 94 of that's Rowell there forward in that Spam Tundra off into turn 1. Look at the speed he carries in that Tundra.
You see the 53 now looking to the inside of the 88 of Duell. Duell's trying to maybe look it up the middle between the 78 and the 94.
Looked up the middle, but ended up getting up to that outside line. Now he'll try to pass Thomas up the racetrack. But behind him, there's James Hudson still looking to climb his way forward after being involved in that accident. Look at Duell turning
Duell
left.
To the inside of the 78. Wow, great move.
He just absolutely just hooked that wheel and turned elevator top to bottom in turn 4. Now side by side with Todd Thomas on the straightaway. Can he make the move in turn 1?
Going to try to do it. I don't think he's going to get enough of a run. But speaking of runs, here comes the 53 of Hudson on the outside.
This is fantastic stuff back here. This is only for ultimately 8th or 9th place. But the 53 of James Hudson takes advantage of it and will pass the 88 of Duell. But can he complete it in turns 3 and 4? He'll have the run here. Things are starting to sort themselves out. Duell still trying to hang on to that 11th spot with James Hudson to his outside. This is where it gets questionable here, Finney. Did we ride on board with Michael Duell? Right on his roll bar here. You can't tell. You can see nothing to your right, to your left. You're trusting that spotter to tell you exactly where that driver is so you can use as much racetrack as possible.
And now the 53 is clear, the 88 of Duell, so he's going to take away 11th position.
He took the spot away and threw some sparks in the nose of the 88. A little bit of wall contact there driving off into turn 3. That's another thing here, Finney. The safe barrier kind of jumps out. So if you're following a truck, it's hard to see where that wall juts out.
And since that battle's kind of calmed down, let's go back up to the front here. De Blasio has been catching Nieto a little bit by little bit, every lap by about a 10th or so. So he's really starting to close in on Nieto.
Yeah, 2/10 that last time. A 33.2. That was Nieto to a 33.0. That was De Blasio. So De Blasio running a little bit quicker. Alvarez not too far behind, running a little bit farther up the racetrack, potentially conserving some Goodyear tire for later in the run.
Yeah, this is top 5.
Oh, got one spinning here, Finian. Got one spinning, and it's James Hudson again on the front straightaway. And bounces. Oh, hard impact into the wall. And that'll be it for that 53 truck. Let's go back quickly and take a look at the replay. Just got loose in turn 4, trying to throttle up. Very similar to what happened to Sweeting. Then gets hit by the 88 of Duell. Nowhere for him to go and spins it out.
Yeah, it almost looks like the 53 had it saved, but I think Duell, and not to any fault of his own, I think that's just him coming off the corner. And just give the 53 a little bit of a tap, and that was all the 53 needed to get spun around.
Yeah, and you see right here just a little bit of contact, spins down, did a great job of missing everybody, but spins through the grass here and then just hits this where that wall juts out, slams into it, and stops the truck dead.
Oh, Schetzler loose. And in the grass in the back straightaway.
And we're trying to catch back up to that. Schetzler, back, take a quick look at that. Too much action to follow here, Finian.
Yeah, everyone's... a lot of people are trying to get loose now.
Did he have help, though, from the 3? He might have. Yes, he did. A little bit of a push from the 3. Cody Griffin's been taking no prisoners today.
Yeah, no, actually, Schetzler got a little bit loose in front of the 3, and the 3 had no time to react, so he just got into the back of him. It's actually really similar to what happened to Chuck Sweeting.
Yeah, so Cody Griffin now up to 6th place. Started, I don't even have a starting spot listed for him, Finian. If you can get me that information, I don't even know where he started.
Started in 19th.
That would be why. He started dead last.
The reason why he probably doesn't show the starting position, because he joined very late.
So that that number 3 truck in 6th place is on a mission. It has some nose damage there. There's William Dunn trying to get a spot away. Bounces off the wall, does the 3 of Cody Griffin.
And Griffin doing everything he can to try to get himself in this fight. He's been clawing his way up the grid, slowly but surely, and he's got a long ways to go to this top 5, but he might be able to catch them.
De Blasio continues to reel in Nieto now, not by as much that last time by, only by about 100th of a second, but he is close and well within that range of that draft starts to get very strong here. And again, that aerodynamics kind of work on an exponential. You get twice as close, this would be 4 times the amount of draft power. But out of turn 2 now, De Blasio closes 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, we're starting to see that he is closing just a little bit. It's kind of stalled out a little bit as well. And part of me feels like that's him losing the air on the corner. You can see that he's trying to run a little bit lower, a little bit out of the shadow as we got a caution.
Cody Griffin, the number 3 truck, spinning and slides down the racetrack. Everyone's going to miss him here, but caution out lap number 54. And
it looks like the 3 had a little bit of help.
All right, let's go take a look at it here. And this is the 43 of William Dunn. And let's take a look. Pushing the 3 down the straightaway. Now, he must have just gotten in there. Oh, just a little bit of contact there, Finney, but that's all it takes. And just slow, lazy spin for the 3 of Cody Griffin.
Yeah, it's over to Steve. Got a great job of missing the outside wall.
Absolutely. You mentioned it, Finney. He did a fantastic job. Let's ride on board with Chuck Sweeting and watch this up ahead. He does a great job missing this on the outside as well. See the contact, see him spinning, and Sweeting doesn't know where to go. He's kind of committed to the upper lane and shoots for the gap between the 3 and the wall and expertly snakes his way through.
All right. So pit stops are underway here, and notably some guys did not come down that time.
I like it. I like the strategy calls here, Finian. But I don't know. If you're Alvarez, I don't know about this. I like what Schetzler's doing here. I'm all right with that, and Chuck Sweeting as well. Just not sure if Alvarez wants to put his championship hopes on this. Maybe it's a fuel number he's trying to get to.
I was going to say, I think it probably would be fuel. I can't imagine it really being for anything else. So I think he knows that they have to come down eventually at some times, and I think he's trying to play the strategy game here. And I don't know, in ways I kind of like that. So as you see the race off pit road, Nieto's going to lead these guys out. It's going to be de Blasio, then Fife, and then Postigo.
Postigo's been getting some great stops today with that good pit stall there, second stall in pit lane. Working out quite nicely for that 69 truck.
Yeah, and also good stop by the 36. He moved ahead of Postigo and is now right behind de Blasio.
Oh, well, the cream of the crop is rising to the top now as we head back up to the lead. And Alvarez again, you mentioned it, Finian, kind of a risky call here, but I'm all for it. I'm all for trying something a little bit different. I mean, he wasn't leading the championship battle before, and it really doesn't matter. No one remembers who finishes second here, Finian, so why not lay all the cards out on the table?
Yeah, so Alvarez is going to lead these guys back to green here. The top 3 have 17 lap old tires under racing conditions, so they're going to be significantly off the pace here. And again, this is more of just playing the long-term game here rather than the short-term with these guys on fresher tires. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see where all these guys kind of line up by the end of the race. If we go green all the way.
Well, we thought we would last time, and that didn't happen. So it seems like the conditions here, Finn, if we take a look at our temperature again, 87 degrees out, so it's actually risen, I think, 3 degrees already from the temperature that these trucks are putting into the racetrack. So that's not hugely significant, but it's just enough where you might notice a little bit more slickness, and these trucks are already on the edge of grip.
Yeah, and especially towards the later parts of the run, as we saw with the 24 and the, I believe it was the, I'm trying to think who that was. Oh, and the 20, no, well, I said the 24. Who was it that went off the nose of the 3?
The 80, no, who was that? Off the 3. Oh, I don't remember that. Man,
In turn 1.
Short-term memory here. Oh, man, Finian, this is bad.
Oh, it was a 24. Who else?
Oh, wow, okay. I didn't even know that happened. Well, we're not here. We don't get paid to remember things, which is good. You're supposed to be Larry Mack. You're supposed to know the trends of the race. All right, 1 to green here. Finian will line them back up. Alvarez, Schetzler, Sweeting, Nieto, de Blasio, your top 5. Then it's Fife, Postigo, Thomas, Rowell, and Duel, your top 10. And notably, Alvarez currently sitting in that championship winning position. Long way to go here.
Notably, too, William Dunn got an EOL penalty for, I believe that might have been for causing that last yellow.
I would imagine that is what that is for. So, penalty issued to the 43 of William Dunn. And the longest line violation for that number 43 truck.
The funny thing about that is that he gave that penalty to himself, so...
Oh, well. At least he's honest.
Yeah, that is very true. So, as we line up here, 83 Alvarez is going to lead these guys to green. Schetzler on the outside in second. Chuck Sweeting up to third now. And everyone else behind them hungry with fresher tires.
Out of turn 4, the pace car pulls off. We're not quite to halfway yet, but we're getting close. Out of turn 4, Alvarez in control. Green flag flies once again. Look at Chuck Sweeting all the way down there trying to get out of the mirror of the 83, but look who's to the outside. You mentioned it, Finian. Sam Nieto, 3 wide in turn 1. Looking to the outside of Schetzler. And behind him, Fife is trying to do the same thing on de Blasio. That'd be a big championship move if he could get there.
And de Blasio all the way down to the white line as they enter into 3 here.
Oh, Fife stuck the nose in on the outside of Schetzler. Almost couldn't handle it, but behind him, Chuck Sweeting quickly going backwards. 3 wide, 4 wide behind him. Checking back out front.
These guys are... Oh, wow, Postigo almost got into Alvarez there. And you can see everyone trying to sort themselves out in this run.
Absolute chaos as we head down into turn 1 here, Finney. You got to make sure that you're not getting caught up in this if you're a championship driver, but looks like de Blasio and Fife have come out on top here, but that tire strategy not working for the 83.
Yeah, and again, these guys are trying to play long-term strategies. So they knew that this would happen. And Chuck Sweeting dropped from, what was that, 3rd to 13th in a lap and a half. So that just shows how much the tires have affected these guys.
The problem is that 83 truck going to be right in the middle of all this carnage here, Finney. There's a lot of potential for bad stuff to happen with all these trucks pushing and shoving back here. This is very aggressive back here. It's only lap 60, and the 83's got to keep himself out of trouble.
Yeah, he's almost gotten passed by most of the trucks here, so 83, the 24, and the 65 have kind of cycled out to the rear end of the pack, as everyone is still trying to battle for position, but Nieto takes the lead, de Blasio second, Fife in third.
Look who's back together. Cody
not far behind.
Cody Griffin and William Dunn back together. Where have we seen these two before?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if there might be some hurt feelings from the 3, as the 43 was the one that punted him, so we'll see how this ends up between these guys.
I'm sure the 43 will be a little bit more careful this time, but again, drivers got longer memories than you think.
Except us, apparently.
Yeah. We're not drivers, so we have an excuse. Not today, we're not drivers. Off into turn 3, William Dunn now chasing Cody Griffin, who's closing on Michael Duel in that 88 truck. He's moved forward quite a bit after the recent cautions.
Yeah, he's really starting to make up a lot of progress, and hopefully he can have a nice run. He's kind of earned it at this point.
Randy Fayash in that 76 trying to make something happen, just has not had the speed in the truck today. Is going to pass Alvarez here, but just barely. And Alvarez has 25 lap older tires than that 76 truck. So Fayash really got to find something here, or maybe pull a strategy call later in the race if he wants to win this championship. Back out up front, Sam Nieto leads by half a second over de Blasio and Fife. And how about Fife showing up to the party finally? It took him about 60 laps to get here, but was kind of mired around 5th to 7th, and here he is now in 3rd place. and less than 0.2 of a second behind the championship leader right now. So Fife solidly back in this battle.
Yeah, we seen Fife kind of just faffing about on around 5th place. He's just been kind of waiting for the party to get started, it seems, and now he's kind of starting to kick it up in high gear. We haven't seen him on the aggressive side of things. He's just been kind of past us so far, while De Blasio and Alvarez were the ones doing the whole battling part. So here he is. He's only got one guy ahead of him right now to fight, and I think he's going to take it to him.
Battle for 6th is heating up. Duel, Griffin, Dunn, and Miller running nose to tail for that 6th spot, so 6th through 9th. All nose to tail. Look at the 3 driving right on the rear bumper. The 88 up the racetrack. He goes to the outside. What a move! Doesn't quite get there, though. Duel comes up the block.
And as Griffin look to the inside, looks like he's going to wait on it. He's going to try to take that top side, but Duel's going to defend on the top.
Oh,
as it come down the bottom, you see the
so
Griffin,
close.
You see Griffin almost getting to his back bumper.
There was inches, not even inches there. And that's just how we saw it. Whoa, wow, crossover move for the 43. We saw how that turned south with those 2 drivers a couple laps ago. The 43 running into the back of the 3. Just a slight misjudgment is all that it takes, and the 3's really playing with fire there that close to the bumper.
Yeah, he's trying to went up. He went back up the track to try to defend from the 43. Almost they ran into each other there. See Griffin really trying to get around Duel.
Griffin's had the speed here this week, just trying to turn it into something special. To the outside he goes. I like that move. That outside lane again can find quite a lot of speed in it here if the truck's set up for it and try to run that outer groove, but it's hard to do lap after lap without getting into it. See Griffin driving real hard. 3 different lines. The 88 goes to the bottom, the 3 to the middle, the 43 to the top, but then they cross over mid-corner. Now the 3's up in the Larson line, the 43 taking the middle. It's so much fun to watch these guys use different lines.
You see the 3 Griffin dive into the corner, almost hitting the 88 of Duel.
We'll watch the speed here, 150, low 150s in the corners. Now watching that speed climb to well over 175 miles an hour. He'll drive off into turn 1 at 176. Up to the outside. Can he hold that line? He's back in the throttle early.
He might be able to. I don't think enough, but enough to really make the pass, so he's going to get a run on the back straightaway.
Will he sit on it or really go for it? Right to the rear bumper. Gas up a little bit later, turned it down earlier.
And we got a battle for 3rd place between Fife and Postigo. Postigo trying to work on the inside. It looks like he might back off here in 1 and 2.
That 69 truck has certainly showed up to the party here tonight. He has been bad fast, has had some great pit stops here tonight, and has kept himself in the top 5 for the majority of the race. That 69 truck, don't count him out if things get crazy late.
Yeah, looks like he's going to back off with the 36 for now, mount up another charge, but the 3 and the 88, ooh, a little bit of a shove from Griffin into 3 and 4.
It was only a matter of time before that was going to happen, whether it was intentional or not. It's so hard to tell when they're running that close, but they'll trade spots and be bumper to bumper. It looks like a Talladega race down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Duel is not happy. He went up to shove the 3 here.
Oh, contact!
Really aggressive.
Shoves the 3 truck into the corner. He's going to slip up the racetrack. That's going to let William Dunn take that spot away, but obviously the 88 very upset with how things went down in turn 3.
Yeah, and Homestead, not really the place you expect to see the bump and run.
No, certainly not, but the 3 truck pulled it off quite well.
Indeed he did, so he's going to move up into 6th place. And I can imagine Duel's going to try to get his bumper sometime soon.
Well, you keep an eye on that battle. I'm going to jump back up front here. Finian Nieto and de Blasio. Nose to tail now, less than 0.2 of a second. Separate them, and de Blasio 0.002 of a second quicker the last time through.
Yeah, he's caught up to Nieto, and it looks like it's kind of stalled out. His progress usually typically stalls out right when he gets within about a 10th or so of Nieto. So kind of to see what he's going to do to try to get around Nieto. Hasn't been able to do it this race, but he's gaining actually a decent amount of chunk through 3 and 4 there.
What about fuel savings here too, Finney? In the draft, these trucks punch a pretty big hole, so potential to save some fuel. As behind him, William Dunn to the inside of Cody Griffin again.
Yeah, watching this again, 3's kind of, I think he might have angered potentially 2 of these guys around him, so this group of guys not really happy with each other at the moment.
Well, 3's going to get that run down the back straightaway, but can William Dunn utilize that bottom line and personally driving it?
For the lead up ahead.
Oh, man. You mentioned it, Finney. Wow, de Blasio must have really sent it there to get alongside. Not
yeah,
gonna be able
he looks like he might be able to hold up just a little bit as Nieto heads down. Nieto's going to clear him down the front straightaway.
Not quite. It's real hard to make that bottom groove stick, but I was just about to mention, 3 and 4 is really your prime opportunity to use that bottom lane late in the run. Turns 1 and 2 gets harder and harder to use it, but I think 3 and 4 is the better groove if you want to use the bottom. This de Blasio has certainly showed up, and this is a guy I didn't think was even going to make the Final Four last week at Martinsville. Battled his way in. He was out coming into Martinsville and managed to race his way in. So Adam de Blasio, again, came into the chase really well seated, did not have a very good chase, managed to claw his way back in the late stages and make it here, and he has certainly shown that he belongs here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So solid performance, been pretty much in the top 3, top 4 all day long. And it's now trying to fight up for the lead with Nieto. Doesn't really have to, but he's trying to put at least a little bit of a distance between Jacob Fife right behind him.
And don't forget, a late race restart. If this stays how they're running right now, Fife would have that inside lane. That's highly desirable here on the restarts at Homestead-Miami Speedway. So that would give Fife an advantage driving off into turn 1. We saw that on previous restarts where that third-place truck usually gets around the second-place truck.
And a quick update on what's going on with some of the trucks who stayed out on the last caution. Alvarez is currently in the middle of 1 and 2 right now, and the leader just entered turn 3, so he's almost half a lap behind these guys from the tires.
Now, I mean, he's still way off the pace, about a half a second off of Sam Nieto's last time, but the difference is beginning to thin itself out a little bit. So he'll continue to drop spots, but not as quickly as he did. So, again, I don't quite get that. Maybe a potential fuel number, again, he's trying to hit, but you gotta wonder. He was running about second or third before, maybe why he made that decision.
Well, he should be coming in for a pit stop, I think, within the next 10 laps, so it'll be interesting to see how that's going to play out there.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's got 44 laps on that tank of fuel here, Finney. He cannot possibly have a ton of fuel left, so let's see. Well, yeah, we still have 55 laps to go here, Finian, so I don't know, can you go that far? That's a risk to me.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to make it work. Everyone else is going to have to also make at least one more stop.
Yeah, I think if you pitted on the previous caution 21 laps ago, you can make it on one more stop easily. The question comes, can those other guys make it? And I don't know. I think maybe it's a hard case to make that look good. Now, the battle for 6 still hot between Dunn and Griffin. A little bit of contact again with the rear bumpers driving off into turn 1.
Jason Miller's also in the 73. He's gotten around duel.
Oh, the 3's loose, Finian. Sideways out of turn 2. As he's wiggling it back and forth, hangs onto it. Incredible driving there, but almost crashed out of turn 2.
Yeah, great job there saving it. Wow, very violently whipping the truck around.
We got to watch that again. That was some spectacular stuff. Here's a replay of it. Loose exiting turn 2 and whipping that truck back and forth. What incredible driving that was.
Incredible handwork trying to do that. It's very hard to do to try to move the wheel that fast.
Now we're watching now on board the gyro cam here with Cody Griffin. Let's watch his hands. Already loose entering turn 1. Gets late on the steering here and just whips that steering wheel back and forth, back and forth, back and forth 4 or 5 times to correct that. Loses a couple spots but saves the race truck.
Yeah, fantastic job indeed. Notably, Schetzler is down on pit road. One of those trucks that stayed out, so I'd imagine that's kind of a sign that Alvarez and Sweeting are due in soon.
Yeah, I would say so. Battle for lead continues. Nieto and de Blasio, they can go quite a bit longer, but really waiting on Alvarez in that 83 truck. That's really the one guy who's off strategy here. Now, what about Fayash here, Finney? He's about 7 seconds back from the leaders. Short pitting, maybe?
Yeah, he's going to have to, I would say probably that's his best bet. Either that or try to pull an overcut, but I don't think he might have the pace to do the overcut. So I think best bet for him would be to try to pit in as soon as possible and make up that time on fresher tires.
Yeah, the problem is then you run the risk of getting run down late in the race. So Randy Fayash has got to do something fancy if he wants to win this championship. But the 2 guys I'm watching right now are the leaders, Nieto and de Blasio, and they've separated themselves from third place Jacob Fife, who's 1.5 back from this battle, battling Renato Postigo.
Yep. Yeah, I think Fife's been kind of caught up with Postigo, not really focusing trying to catch the leaders. He's been trying to hold off 4th place, so I think that's probably led into him losing a bit of time here.
Back out up front, Nieto and de Blasio continue to run nose to tail. Closing in slowly on our pit window. Now, Alvarez has notably gone 50 laps here, Finian, and if he can go 3 more, he can make it to the end.
I think that's definitely what he's going to try to go for. I think he's crunched the numbers in his head, and that's what he's aiming for. Again, I'm kind of wondering how this will work out in his favor. I don't think it will. But we'll have to, again, keep seeing what's going to happen with that 83 truck.
Yeah, so the way I see this working out here, he's got 14 seconds to make up on the racetrack. So that's going to work out. If he can make up 2 seconds a lap, which is possible, 2 seconds a lap, you're going to need about 7 laps pitting prior to the leaders. And they're not going to pit now. They're going to wait another 15, 20 laps to make their pit stop. So there is the math is there. I just don't know why you would have gone with that strategy when you were running so well before, but certainly throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it to make it work. Look at de Blasio now running the high lane, trying something different here on leader Nieto.
I think he definitely has to try to do something because he's been kind of following loosely in the shadow of Nieto, following him around the track. So I think you've really got to try some different lines and try them out to see if he can get a run on Nieto, because there's no way that it doesn't look like he's going to pass him very lightly. So he's got to make some drastic changes to his driving strategy.
Oh, we might have some contact here. Finney and Todd Thomas and Cody Griffin door-to-door out of turn 4. Little bit of body panel contact. The 3 pulls in right behind the 78, but that was potentially a caution there. That would really throw off a bunch of drivers in their calculations.
Yeah, it looks like they'll keep it going straight, though.
That's one thing Alvarez does not want to see. I think the only way this strategy potentially works is if we go green all the way to the end, which is what we expected, but we've seen quite a few yellows tonight, which we didn't expect coming into the night. So keep your eye out on, especially on this number 3 truck, who's been kind of at the center of a lot of stuff tonight and continues to work over the 78. 78's loose out of turn 4. Oh, here we go, Finney. The 78 spins on the front straightaway. Can he hang on to it? He'll keep it straight and almost a caution there. Lap number 85. That would have certainly dug the grave for Alvarez, but Thomas locks it down and will drive forward and continue.
Yeah, great job by Raul, Duel, and Fayas trying to avoid that. Yeah, great job, because that could have been ugly.
And that's the old-fashioned 2-foot save right there. And does a great job hanging on. Watch on board the gyro cam here. Watch his handwork. Wish we had a pedal cam for stuff like this. Again, it gets loose really early in the corner. Just tries to slow down the spin there and just gets behind and just can't quite hang on to it. But does a great job keeping the truck going forward. As we head back up to the lead now, de Blasio still less than a 10th behind Sam Nieto.
Yeah, I think de Blasio probably is kind of accepted his fate. He realizes he's probably not going to be able to pass Nieto on the track, so I think he might probably just settle in here for the long run, try to undercut the 22, and that way he can get ahead.
All right, well, Alvarez is in his pit window. He can pit now. Now, how long do you wait, Finian? I think you got to go now.
Yeah, I think he does as well, so we're going to wait and expect the 83 to come down sometime soon.
And he rolls now in 12th place, 15.6 seconds back. That is looking harder and harder to support that strategy as we get farther into this race. So Alvarez potentially digging himself a hole here he might not be able to climb out of. Less than 50 to go here at Homestead. It's starting to get to the late stages of this one. One more pit stop is needed by everybody out on the racetrack, with the exception of Schetzler might be able to go to the end. He should be good. So that's a truck to keep an eye on, the 24.
Yeah, again, one of those guys that did stay out alongside Sweeting and Alvarez, so he's going to... We're kind of seeing how that strategy is going to unfold with the 24. Wasn't as far up the field, although he did start pretty far up, so we'll kind of see where this is going to end up with him.
Through turns 1 and 2, de Blasio following in Nieto's tire tracks, and I'm a little bit surprised de Blasio hasn't done a little bit more line searching. We saw him do it a couple laps ago where he went up to the top, but he's been kind of following Nieto's tire tracks here, and I'm not sure if that's because Nieto's got the preferred line that he wants, or if de Blasio's just trying to hang tight here until late stages.
I think he's probably just going to hang tight on late stage. I think he figured Nieto's not that much faster than him. They're kind of both at the same pace, and they're making time ahead of the 36 of Fife. Gap to Fife from de Blasio is about 2.2 seconds, so it's gaining. So I think de Blasio doesn't see the point in just wasting his time, wasting his tires, more importantly, trying to battle the 22, when they could just put some distance to the 36.
Potential strategy there by the 48 of de Blasio now. When we get to the line, it'll be 44 laps to go. Working lap number 90.
Alvarez is down on pit road.
And there it is, the 83 down on pit road, 44 to go. And I don't think you're going to see the rest of the leaders for another 10 to 15 laps here. So 83 throwing something at all the things that were my words. I give up. Never mind. We'll give up on that sentence. I'm not a public.
Throw some tires and get some fuel in there, and he's going to head back on track. Gonna have to try to really now put the pedal to the metal to try to make up some time.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Oh, here's a battle on the track between Raul and Duel here, the 94 and the 88.
Yeah, that's battle for, looks like, 8th place, and Raul's got the advantage out of turn 4, but can the 88 of Duel close that gap? He will. He'll be able to fill the hole in the outside lane.
Raul giving him some space here. As both these drivers giving each other a lot of space here, but I think Raul might have it.
Chuck Sweeting, Todd Thomas on pit lane. Chuck Sweeting servicing away, and this is another race for the Sweeting that just got away from him after that early spin, cause of our first caution, and looped it on the back straightaway, and backed into the concrete. So Sweeting's day has not really gone the way he wanted. Alvarez back up to speed, and we'll see what his first lap out is, Finian.
Yeah, and this is where we got to start taking out kind of the calculators and start crunching the numbers, seeing how this is all going to end up.
So last time by, the leaders ran 34 seconds flat. So he's got to run, really, almost 2 seconds faster than that, 32.5, so a second and a half. It's going to have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, he's got to make sure, too, that he runs consistently fast. He can't afford for the tires to fall off too much, so a lot of work ahead for the 83 to try to make this strategy work.
Now, the one advantage he might have here, Finian, is that he's so far back, so far out of the minds of de Blasio and Fife, that they might not even be looking at that 83 as a threat. They might stay out longer. They're in clean air. They don't have anybody to fight with. Why not just run click-off laps here, pit later? They're not worried about that 83, but that might come back to haunt them if they stay out too long.
Also, Alvarez, too, just has some clean air to work with. He doesn't really have to fight anyone or drive around anyone at the moment, so he's got that advantage also.
Postigo and William Dunn on the access road coming to pit lane. The 69 and the 43, they're pitting from 5th and 6th, respectively.
It looks like we are starting to see some drivers electing to come down pit road, so we're going to see some guys potentially trying to do the undercut here.
The problem is, we'll just drag Nieto and de Blasio to pit road. The top 4 have not come down yet. And I think as soon as you see one of those guys come, it's going to bring the rest, but I think Alvarez is hoping and praying that everyone stays out as long as possible.
Jason Miller in the 73s come down pit road.
That's going to force the hand of Jacob Fife, and as soon as Fife comes, de Blasio's got to come. He doesn't have time out there. The only gap between them is only 2.9 seconds. That's only 2 laps worth. So de Blasio will follow Fife. The question is, how long does Fife stay out on the racetrack? And Fife's got to be thinking, he can see that 48 truck out front, but you're not going to run him down under green. You're going to have to play a strategy here. You're going to have to come down and get tires before de Blasio can. So he's got to be thinking now, with these other trucks pit, you got to come now, get your tires, get your advantage before the 48 can block you.
Yeah, I would say Fife needs to, if he wants to try to pass the leaders, he's got to come in 2 laps before them to make that undercut work in his favor. So he's really got to think about potentially coming in or about now, because half the field has made their trip down pit road.
The problem is de Blasio is looking at that 36 in his rearview mirror, and as soon as he sees him come, he'll be following close behind. So Fife almost is kind of in a no-win situation here, where he can't snooker the 48, because as soon as he comes, the best that he can do is 1 lap if de Blasio is paying attention here. So out of turn 4, the leaders come. Lap number 98, they will start. Cody Griffin on pit lane now in the number 3 truck. And Fife continues to stay on the racetrack. Todd Thomas has come down. He has parked it, Finian, that number 78 truck, now 7 laps down. And no crash damage to that truck, so a little bit surprised at his retirement, but we'll continue.
And notably now, the top 6 have yet to make their pit stop. Everyone else has come down.
You can see right there, they're all working lap number 43 of this run. And there's the 29 truck of Alan Pajari trying to get one of his 2 laps back, and he'll go drive right by. It's almost easy, but he gets blocked in by the 22 there for just a moment. That messed up the 22 just enough. Can de Blasio get a run at him here down the back straightaway?
I don't know if de Blasio will do too much with it.
Whoa.
It looks like Nieto's coming down, and he is.
And too late for de Blasio to make a move to follow him, so that's going to give Nieto a big advantage here. But de Blasio, he's not racing the 22. He's thinking big picture. He's trying. Only truck right now he's trying to beat is that 36 truck. The only competitive playoff truck is right behind him. So these two are the leaders right now in the championship battle. Fayash hasn't been a contender all day. Alvarez put himself back on strategy. So the 48 and the 36, nose to nose with 35 laps to go. And I think Fife's got to beat that 48 truck down, but by how much?
He's got to beat him by about 2 laps, like I said before. And even then, too, if Fife comes in, de Blasio might just follow in him a lap after, and it'll only be maybe about a 1.5 second deficit down to, and de Blasio will still have the lead ahead of him. So it's kind of looking like it's going to be in de Blasio's favor here.
Well, the leader's lap times, Finian, have slowed to over 34 seconds, and Alvarez still lapping a second quicker, so he continues to make up time. He's still a lap down here, Finian, but he's making up some great time, and this is working out in his favor here. If these trucks continue to make laps, he's not trying to beat the 22. He's just trying to beat the 48, the 36, and the 76. And the way this is going, this could work out for Alvarez.
Yeah, and I think he knows that he's actually just about to get around the 76, not for position. He's just going to kind of unlap himself from that. So Alvarez currently in 10th, but again, it's more of a question of, like we were talking about, where do the rest of the championship 4 end up after pit stops?
Well, again, another 34-2 for de Blasio, a 34-4 for Jacob Fife, and a 33-3 for Alvarez. So continuing to lap a second quicker. So every time, remember, he was 15 seconds back when he came into pit lane, and he's been out on the racetrack now for about close to 10 laps. So he's made up a significant portion of that ground already. Now, this is going to get spicy here, Finian. We're getting down to the closing stages here at Homestead. Adam de Blasio leads Jacob Fife. 3.5 back, continues to lose time to de Blasio.
Yeah, de Blasio kind of knocking off a few hundredths here and there, or maybe a tenth or so. So just little chips at Fife's lead. And again, I kind of wonder, when is Fife going to come down? Not going to come down this time either.
So now the question.
A lot of these guys.
Go ahead, Finian.
I was going to say, a lot of these guys look like they're going to do the overcut, or potentially trying to maybe run out their tanks just in case a caution were to come up. But here comes the 76 of Randy Fayash.
The 36 truck of Fife got really loose out of turn 4, managed to hang on to it, but almost lost it there. But my question now becomes, Finian, you mentioned the overcut. Alvarez might end up passing the 36 and 48 after this strategy, but he's not going to have the tires to hang on if he doesn't get a big enough lead.
Yeah, and we still have 30 laps to go, which is pretty much more than enough time for these guys to come in with nearly 15 lap fresher tires than Alvarez to drive back up and pass him. So,
looking at Randy Fayash on pit lane, but looking at our stint graphic on the ticker here, Finian, there is lots of different strategies playing out. We got guys that have 50 laps on their tires, guys have 9 laps, 4 laps, 1 lap, 12 laps, 25, all over the board here, Finian. With 30 laps to go, this is going to get down to it. De Blasio and Fife are the favorites. Guillermo Alvarez throwing everything he's got at the wall here to try to get a victory out of this. Maybe he knew that he couldn't beat de Blasio on speed, Finian. Maybe he didn't even try. Maybe he knew that 48 would be the truck to beat and couldn't outrace him on the racetrack, so he had to outsmart him in pit lane, and it might just work out if he has enough time.
Yeah, it just might. Just might indeed.
Sam Nieto all the way back up to 5th place. And just unlapped himself to put himself back on the lead lap. So Nieto in the top 5. So de Blasio and Fife now separated by 3.7 seconds. And will we see Fife come to pit lane anytime soon? These guys are really running it out of fuel. Another thing I could be thinking about here, Finian, the longer you run, the shorter fuel fill you have to take.
Yeah, that could also, again, be part of it as well. So again, if we were to have someone that was kind of trying to keep track of all this, they probably would have quit their job with all the different strategies that are going on here. Nearly every driver out there is on some different form of strategy.
Well, I think that's what de Blasio and Fife are going to... But here's the thing, Finian. Fueling the truck takes as long as putting 4 tires on, so that almost isn't really much of an advantage, unless you're going to try to do a 2-tire stop. But, you know, the time that it'll save you on the racetrack, with this few laps left, that could work, though. I mean, I'm not counting it out of the equation just yet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be kind of close. And again, when you're just considering you're racing pretty much the only other person that's out there with you, it might end up working. So, well,
that's what I'm saying is normally you'd say, oh, absolutely put 4 tires and fill it up with fuel. But when you're only racing, you know, a specific number of guys, you can outsmart them in all sorts of different ways. Driving to the end of the race here, Finian, this is a great strategy to short fuel the truck, only put 2 tires on and leapfrog a ton of time. And we're closing in now on 20 laps to go. That's not a whole lot of time to get that spot back.
Yeah, that definitely is, and I think we're starting to see these guys potentially committing to that strategy. To, again, top 3 have yet to make their final pit stop. But yeah, again, it really sucks that we can't know what any of these guys are thinking. Only they know what strategy they're up to.
Well, here's what I can tell you: is Alvarez
can only guess.
Alvarez continues to lap 0.7 of a second quicker than the leaders. And I got to imagine that time that he was at a deficit to the leaders at the beginning of the run might be shrunken or even reversed from where it was. So keep an eye on that 83 as the rest of the field comes to pit lane here. Still, the top group of trucks, the top 3, have yet to pit, and they need to come one more time.
Yeah, Alvarez actually on track to potentially unlap himself on the track in a few laps' time.
And didn't even need to do that. You would definitely go at least a lap down when you pit. So the question now becomes, will he leapfrog the 48 and the 36 enough to gain enough traction to where he doesn't have to worry about getting caught back once these guys put fresh tires on? This is a huge risk for the 83, but I could see this potentially paying off. We got 25 to go here this time through, so...
Oh, here comes Fife. Fife's coming down pit road.
All right, so the 36 has come. That is going to immediately force the 48 at Adam de Blasio's hand. So I want to carefully watch this 36 truck here, Finian. Where's that 83 going to pass him in relation to the racetrack, and what is his pit stop like? Does he go for 2 tires?
Yeah, I'm watching him as well. Again, we're going to see what sides of the truck pop up.
This is a big risk for the 83 truck here, Finian. Fife down into his box. Very conservative, clean stop.
Yeah, can't afford to overshoot. Right sides go up. Do the lefts go up? Let's see here.
Yeah, they're going to go up here, Finian.
And there's actually dual right behind there, so I think the only one out there is still...
No, he only took right sides there, Finian, but he took a full load of fuel, I think.
Interesting.
Can you double check that for me? I didn't see the left sides go up.
Yeah, I didn't see left sides go up either, so 2 tires only for the 36 and fuel.
It was a 15-second stop there, Finian. I don't quite see the advantage in that, but here comes de Blasio now. What does he take? This is important. This is championship contention. Oh, and look at Alvarez, Finian has passed Jacob Fife, and it's not by an insignificant amount.
Yeah, and the thing, too, I don't think Fife's going to really be able to drive up there and pass him. It's going to be a decent deficit.
Not with 2 tires, he's not.
Yeah, so I think depends what de Blasio here takes. If de Blasio does 4 tires,
if de Blasio takes 4 tires, I think he's the favorite for sure. He was the favorite when everyone was equal, but when he's got the clear advantage, this could be over. So let's watch now the 48's pit stop. Into his box, a little bit more aggressive than the 36. Right sides up. All right.
Down the jet goes.
Left side's up. He's taking 4.
4 tires.
Meanwhile, Guillermo Alvarez passing him on the front straightaway. Will he have enough time to get out in front? De Blasio leaving his box. I don't know if it's going to be enough, Finian. Guillermo Alvarez passes him on the racetrack. De Blasio on the access road.
I think he's probably gonna catch him. We have 20 laps to go. I think de Blasio is gonna have a good shot of this.
De Blasio just now. He's got a whole straightaway to make up here, Finian. Going to be 21 to go when we get to the line. I think that solidly puts it in de Blasio's favor. However, we get that late race caution, completely changes things.
Yeah, if we got a caution, you can throw every single piece of paper that you have with all your notes on it and throw it out the pit box at that point, because then it's just kind of a pretty much single file strategy. You just pit 4 tires for the end.
All right, so it's 3.5 seconds between de Blasio and Alvarez. That's going to come down very quickly because he's going to be lapping well over a second quicker. So it's going to be only a couple laps before he gets there. The problem is, Finian, Alvarez might be able to hold him off long enough to burn the good out of the tires on that 48. So it's going to be an aggressive fight here. We're not we're not playing for poker chips anymore, Finney. This is the championship on the line. 20 laps to go. Sam Nieto leads. Renato Postigo second. Dunn third. Miller fourth. Alvarez fifth. Trying to hang on to that championship spot. 2.1 seconds from the front of de Blasio. That's closing very quickly.
Yeah, he's closed in about 1.3 seconds alone that last time by, and the gap is looking to be about 2 seconds and some change, so it's not looking good in Alvarez's favor at the moment.
And it's not looking good for Fife either, running 33.6s. That's almost as slow as Alvarez, so I don't really see how this is going to work out for Fife at all unless we have another caution, so not going to work out for him, and that might just be game over. The only one who's got an advantage now is Alvarez, but it's quickly dwindling now with 19 to go.
Yeah, you can just see it visually there, just how quickly de Blasio is closing in every single time on Alvarez. It's kind of a losing fight for Alvarez. If anything, Alvarez might be able to hold up Fife for second place.
All right, so last time through 1.2 seconds quicker again for that 48 truck over the 83, but can Alvarez hang on to it? He drives off into turn 3, kind of a middle line, and again, no man's land for grip. Here comes de Blasio to the inside. This is for the championship. The championship 4 running 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Change for position. De Blasio has it out of turn 4.
He's going to easily be able to take. You see Alvarez not even bothering to fight. He knows that he can't really do much to defend. There's de Blasio going on the inside. He's going to take the championship lead here. Not the race lead. That goes to Sam Nieto, half a lap away from all these other guys.
Yeah, but again, these guys are racing each other. So 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th are your championship 4. Randy Fayash has got himself back in the fight. Potentially, this is a change for position here, too. Fayash could pass the 36. Remember, the 36 only took 2 tires on that last stop.
Yeah, it's going to be big for Fayash here, looking to be the underdog. Might at least get third.
Oh.
See, 36.5, very loose. Fayash was getting into him.
He'll hang on to it for now, but side by side, this will be for 3rd in the championship. And again, your championship 4 running 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. De Blasio leads, pretty commanding lead, and he'll continue to drive away from Alvarez.
You can see Fife really struggling with those 2 tires. He's got fresh right sides, yes, but those left sides are really old now and not helping him on grip.
And will we see a caution? That will change everything.
Tell you, the one man on the track that does not want to see that is, well, actually 2, I guess, would be probably Sam Nieto, the leader, and de Blasio in the 48.
Well, just like the start of the race, Nieto and Postigo, 1 and 2. 3.2 seconds separate them. The battle for 3rd in the championship and 7th on the racetrack continues to rage. Fayash to the bottom, Fife to the top.
And it looks like Fayash is going to secure this out here. I don't think Fife's got much to fight left with.
And Fife will slide up the racetrack, unable to hold that line. I'll tell you what, Finian. Alvarez is doing a pretty good job hanging on. Only about a half second behind de Blasio.
Yeah, notably, de Blasio's last lap was very slow. Almost, he's actually looks like I think he might have just slowed down.
Well, he's in control this year, Finney. He doesn't need to drive as hard as he was before. But look at this, Alvarez closing back up. Something going on in that 48 truck?
I don't know. I'm as baffled as you are here. And it looks like actually de Blasio gassed it up mid-corner there to try to drive away. So I don't know if he's kind of just trying to maintain a decent gap to Alvarez, which is what I think he's doing. But he did seem awfully slow in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, 34.0 for the 48 last time through. That was extremely slow for a truck with that fresh tires on it. So
yeah, he's got no damage. He's got completely fresh tires. So I think he's probably might have just gotten the gap might have gotten a little bit too close for his comfort there. So he might start trying to manage it a little bit better. But I imagine he's probably just trying to keep it easy here, not put the truck on the wall.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's 11 seconds up to William Dunn in the 4th place. So nothing for de Blasio to gain, but everything to lose if he pushes. So just keeping that 83 behind him is a surefire way to end up with this championship. The problem is the more he wastes the goodness tires, they'll begin to even out. The 24 is loose and spinning on the back straightaway, Finian. Down to the grass.
He spun down in the grass, though, no caution.
Contact with the inside wall. And Schetzler will return to the racetrack here with 12 laps to go. That could have been huge.
Yeah, that easily could have been a caution. So Schetzler's going to keep it going here.
Let's go back and take a look at what happened. It was all by himself. Out of turn 2, gassed it up. Just got loose. Just spun it out. Right in front of the championship leaders. So peculiar spin for the number 24 of Schetzler.
And the thing is, if Schetzler was the one that spun, remember, guys on the older tires are guys like Alvarez and Chuck Sweeting. So maybe if their tires start wearing out too much, they might start getting loose and sliding, maybe spinning out.
Well, Schetzler continues to run pretty slow laps right now. He's got a lot of damage on the right side of that truck coming back to pit lane this time through. De Blasio continues to lead Alvarez by 0.4 of a second. Up in front, Sam Nieto has a 4-second lead over Renato Postigo. 11 laps to go now. Battle for second might heat up here shortly as Postigo and Miller are closing in on each other.
How about Jason Miller coming out of absolutely nowhere?
Yeah, has had a quiet day tonight, but started back in 13th spot. Has just been quietly managing this race, avoiding trouble. And actually, we managed to avoid that big wreck earlier in the race by stomping on the brakes and missing all of it. And has since moved his way up into third and might actually have second here in a few laps.
Yeah, he's been slowly closing into Postigo. So yeah, he was running in and around 7th place around those positions there. So really gained a lot of time out of nowhere. So a solid job by the 73, potentially getting second place here at Homestead.
All right, so we have some information. I want to thank Eric de Blasio for providing this here, Finian. Tire limits. We haven't talked about those in a long time here, but
oh yeah,
Alvarez has one set of tires left. So in case there's a caution, 100% that gives the championship straight to Alvarez.
Right, but again, that's Alvarez kind of hoping that the championship comes out. That's the kind of position he's put himself into. You know, it's a good thing to try to set yourself up for that. But unless it doesn't happen, almost did happen with the 24 Schetzler.
And de Blasio would be saving so much because he's worried about that. He knows Alvarez has another set of tires. So de Blasio doesn't want to give that advantage away. That's why he's driving so slow here, Finian. But the problem with that is it's not going to matter. I mean, you put fresh tires on these things, they're rockets around here. But now 8 laps to go. We're running out of time for a yellow, and Alvarez might just be a sitting duck.
Yeah, once we get within 5 laps to go, that's pretty much race over. Regardless, there's no overtime in iRacing, so all we have to do is get to that mark, and we're rapidly approaching that for this race to be pretty much over.
I wouldn't count it out just yet here, Finian, because the battle for second's closing up, and we could see some guys get real aggressive here. Postigo and Miller, nose to tail as we come to 7 to go. Miller's going to drop down to the bottom. We could potentially see a yellow. We're not done just yet. There are still some battles on the racetrack that are pretty close, so I wouldn't count it out of the question.
And you can imagine that the 83 has got his fingers and maybe even his legs crossed, trying to hope for a caution to come out here.
Miller to the bottom. The lap truck in front, that's the 29. Alan Pajari.
You might see the 73 potentially use the lap truck as a pick here, unless Postigo's able to get by. There goes Postigo to the inside.
6 laps to go. One more lap or two, and it's going to be game over. Checkers or wreckers. Out of turn 2, now the 73 goes to the high side. Tries to go through the middle. Can't quite make the move there.
Postigo's going to close them off. Here comes Miller, though.
And Postigo running a lower line, can't hold it down there. Miller can out of turn 4. Here comes the 73 of Jason Miller, looking for second place in Renato Postigo. 5 laps to go. And Finian, when we get back around, that will be, if the caution comes out, that'll be race over. So I think you'll see de Blasio pick up his speed here in a moment to drive away from the 83 of Alvarez.
Here comes the 73 on Postigo, though. Postigo's going to have the run down the back straight. You see the 73 get a little bit loose there.
Side by side for second. Into turn 3. De Blasio beginning to drive away. 7/10, now 9/10 of a second between him and Alvarez. Out of turn 4, 4 laps to go. Postigo and the 73 Miller still side by side.
It's a good fight on our hands here for second place between these two guys. Again, Nieto pretty much far out of this, 5.7 seconds up the road from this battle.
69's loose!
Mid-court.
Postigo chases it up the racetrack, hangs on, but that's going to lose him that spot, and then also third place, because here comes William Dunn. He'll drive right around him and take that spot away.
Yeah, no contest there. William Dunn's going to try to get a podium here.
Oh, he's in the wall, 69.
These closing laps.
69's in the wall there, Finian. Will get himself going forward, but 3 laps to go now. William Dunn getting around the lap truck. And just like that, with a flip of a switch, de Blasio just driven away from Alvarez. Now he doesn't need to save anything anymore. He's in the catbird seat. He's in the championship spot for now. Sam Nieto rounds turn 3, coming now to 2 laps to go. This is just another dominating night for that 22 truck. Finian, just from start to finish, has had the hold on this whole race.
Yeah, pretty much so. Again, still probably kicking himself, wishing that he was in this championship for. Could have easily taken it here, but they'll at least have to settle for a race win, finishing out a pretty solid season for that 22 team. Nice way to cap it off with a win.
Absolutely, and again, probably wishing he was in the championship 4 because he would have absolutely dominated, but he didn't have to race them tonight. He ran his own race, pitted when he wanted to pit, and now is a 6-second lead and just absolutely dominating. Won the pole, the fastest truck here tonight out of turn 4. Will collect the white flag one more time around. Meanwhile, behind them in 5th place, Adam de Blasio in the number 48 truck. Came in to the chase as the top seed. Fell down the order, had some bad races, got in a wreck at Texas. He's got one more lap and a 3.4 second advantage over Guillermo Alvarez, trying to play some strategy. And Adam de Blasio, 4 more corners to determine him as the 2018 All-In Restoration Truck Series champion. Sam Nieto, through turns 3 and 4, will collect another checkered flag here this season. Absolutely dominating performance, wins at Homestead-Miami Speedway, but behind them, into turn 3 goes Adam de Blasio. A season culminating one more time at Homestead-Miami Speedway. 5 chase races, all ending here at Homestead-Miami. Adam de Blasio, your 2018 All-In Restoration Truck Series champion.
Yeah, finishing runner-up behind him will be Guillermo Alvarez. He'll come a strong second. Randy Feas will finish in 3rd for the championship and go back to Jacob Fight. He's going to be probably disappointed with his performance. He's going to come home 4th out of the championship for here at Homestead.
So that is it for the season. The field continues to cross the line, but Nieto now comes to the, without hesitation, comes to the start-finish line and does a burnout here. That 22 truck is no stranger to victory lane, but it'll be a special celebration today. But Adam de Blasio stopped over in turn 3, congratulated by the 83 of Alvarez. Door to door, everyone's stopping as Nieto drives around to do his victory lap. What a race, Finian. There were so many drivers that had an opportunity to win that championship.
Yeah, it was almost like a ping pong ball there. It went into several drivers' hands throughout the night. Early on, it was between Alvarez and de Blasio, and even 5-2 was up there as well. Then Alvarez fell out trying to play a strategy. Then it was de Blasio and Fife. Then went back into Alvarez's hands for the later part of the race, and then until de Blasio was able to drive around him.
So Jacob Fife out in front of this, but the 48 of de Blasio again, your champion. What a season it has been. It was not the greatest of chases. Made it in last week at Martinsville with a phenomenal performance there. And will come home now as the season champion. And Jacob Fife in the number 36. Again, one of the administrators for this league will be stepping down from his position at the conclusion of this season. Has done a lot for the Integrity Racing League and done a lot for us. He's the one that contracted us to do these chase races and has been absolutely nothing but a great business partner and a great friend these past couple weeks. And possibly celebrating one final lap for Fife. Michael Dooley giving a little bump there.
I was going to say that was a fantastic thing they had going there, and then other chaos is going on now.
Yeah. Well, celebrate it how you guys want to celebrate it. Everyone going at him now.
Yeah, and everyone going for the 36 truck.
Well,
you know, what a way to send off an admin, though. That was a really nice touch.
That was cool. But Fife, again, a little bit of a burnout, celebrating the end of an era for the Integrity Racing League. They're not going away. They'll be under new leadership next season. But Fife doing one final burnout. But what a champion. Adam de Blasio. Again, we mentioned it, his struggles in the chase. A wreck at Texas. We thought he was out. But last week, put an absolutely phenomenal performance in, knew who he had to beat, and did it. And came here this week and took no prisoners. Walked in, laser focused on who he was racing, didn't get distracted by the race win in front of him, and instead of collecting the race win trophy, he'll collect the more important one, the championship trophy here in the Integrity Racing League.
Yeah, pretty much played his strategy out to a T these last 2 weeks. And that's really what got him in this position to be here at Homestead and then also now take this championship. So great job by that 48 crew.
And he'll celebrate, again, our in-race reporter here tonight. We only got one chance to talk to him, but obviously some nerves on there tonight for him, but we'll celebrate a championship. What a great season. We'll talk to him and a couple others here in just a couple moments. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway, and Sam Nieto, driver number 22, Chevrolet. That was an absolutely dominating performance here tonight. You took no prisoners. You went out there and won the race, but is there any inkling of...
could have been, right?
Yeah, if only.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the whole race. What could have been?
But, I mean, come on. I mean, it was a great season for you, so are you happy about this? I mean, would you rather... I mean, I obviously be rather holding the championship trophy, but this is a good way to end the season on a high note, no?
No, this is a really good track for me, in all the cars, really. I don't know. I just click at this track. I'm happy to get the win. Obviously, I would have loved to have contended, but there was 4 guys that deserved it more than I did. They got through the playoffs cleanly, and I didn't, so that's just the end of.
Now, talk us through that race there. We saw some differing pit strategies, especially by the Championship 4. Did you walk in here knowing that you're going to have to beat them, or was it just a process of running your own race and seeing where you came out?
To be honest, I fully expected to win. Like I said, this is a really good track and car combo for me. Adam was faster than I thought he was going to be. He's not that good, well, self-described, not that good in the trucks, but he showed some speed there, catching me and staying with me in the long run. I forgot your original question. I'm sorry. Could you ask me again?
I was just saying that if you walked in here in terms of the pit strategy in the later stages of the race, like what your sort of thought process there? Were you worried about what the other 4 guys were doing?
No, not really. There, that last run, they were racing each other. They weren't racing me, so they didn't care when I pit. So I was going to use that to my advantage to win the race by staying out a little bit longer than I would have had I known that they were going to be racing for the win. That way I could have fresher tires than whoever wasn't going to be staying that long. They were basically playing a game of pit chicken. Whoever pitted first between them was going to lose. Not lose the race, but lose the advantage of the fresher tires. And that's important because I don't know why here, but it's not optimal to pit halfway. A lap, 2 laps, 3 laps past halfway is going to get you better track time than had you pitted halfway. So, yeah, I wasn't really worried about what they were. I knew what they were doing, which it sucked because I like battling. I would have preferred, Adam and Jacob be battling me for the win, but it's not what happened.
All right, well, certainly a great season. Just didn't quite end the way you wanted, but a victory. Not a bad way to go out either. Thanks for talking to us, Sam.
All right, thanks, guys.
No problem. All right, so next we're going to talk to, will be Jacob Fife, and then driver number 36. Hey, Jacob, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing fine, and, well, I don't know if I think we walked in here thinking you were the obvious favorite, and just tonight, never really had the speed, and just ended up getting passed by Fayesh at the end there. Some weird pit strategies going on, but ultimately came out 9th in the race and 4th in the championship. Walk us through that race.
Do I have to? No. No, I mean, I was a little frustrated by the end. The speed wasn't bad. I thought I'd put myself in decent position to be second somewhat comfortably through most of the race. Basically, it came down to the last pit stop. I was going to try a strategy and take 2 tires at the end, and I took the gas out, set it for 2 tires, made the pit stop, and it just held me in there like it was a full pit stop. So not only did I not gain the track position I was hoping to gain from a quicker pit stop, but obviously on 2 tires with your left side, so like 50 laps old or whatever it was, I was all over the place, which I kind of anticipated. But when you lose the track position, then it's hard to, I was faster. I could see I was catching Guillermo, who had stayed out a very long time. Longer than everybody else. So I was gaining with him, but I just couldn't. That was all I could do to hang on to it. And so the track advantage I needed to kind of stay ahead of a couple guys, or at least have a shot at Adam, I just lost, and it was kind of done from there.
Well, we saw you, especially at the Milwaukee Mile, where you won a couple weeks ago. You started out the chase real strong. Is Homestead-Miami a trickier place for you? Are you better at the single line racetracks or more of the multi-groove stuff?
I'm better at the flatter, more technical stuff. Not to say that Homestead isn't technical, because you do have to race a certain line, be consistent, and the truck moves around a lot here. So it is a little different. I'm just not very good at Homestead. We did our Cup Series race last night. I was in the Final Four for that too, and got the same result. So Homestead is not my track. It's a fun track to race. I'm just not very good at it, sadly, considering I get to this point every year and it's like I'm pulling my hair out. But so yeah, it's just the flatter tracks, your Milwaukee's, your New Hampshire's, your short Martinsville. I ran really well there in the Cup Series, for example. Those are my tracks. That's the wheelhouse. And it's just when you get to tracks like that, it's not. I don't have whatever it is. I thought we had okay speed, but like I said, with the pit strategy at the end and not iRacing kind of not helping me out with that, just kind of, made it to where I wasn't going to be able to gain any advantage.
The other thing on your mind, obviously, the end of an era for the Integrity Racing League. You're stepping away as an administrator here at the end of the season. But first of all, I want to personally thank you for joining SimTV here these last couple races, and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. I know you're not going very far, but it's been awesome working with you, and it was cool to see a little send off at the end there.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. That was pretty neat. Yeah, this is my last everything as far as running the league goes. So I'll be here next year to race and stuff. But I got a few guys who are taking over. It's been 6 years doing this. And it's been a fun ride. I think I was looking the other week. I think we've had close to 300 people come through here to race in the various series we've done. A few different champions, obviously, and it's so many people you come into and you meet, and you have the chance to interact with, which is it's kind of humbling in a certain way that you get the chance to meet different people in a forum that is pretty niche, if you will. So it's been a fun ride as far as that goes, but I'm ready for the break as far as having to try to constantly keep up with things and keep things moving along to make the league better and stuff. And it's kind of nice to pass it off. And I'm sure Chris and Todd will do a great job as far as the Cup Series goes. And then Cody and William are going to do a great job for the secondary series next year as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it and how they make it better than what I've done so far.
All right, Jacob. Well, again, congrats on the 4th place finish. I know you want a little bit more, but thanks again for all you did for integrity and working with us. It was a pleasure working with you, and hopefully we'll see you back next season.
Yeah, you guys have been great. I certainly appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
All right, Jacob. See you later. All right, now let's talk to driver number 2 in the or 3 in the championship. Excuse me, Randy Fayash. Randy walked in here a little bit apprehensive about the performance level. Obviously, the 51 not being here, and you got the position after a pretty decent run last week at Martinsville. But just walk us through that race, because you ended up in 3rd in the championship, which has got to be a personal success for you.
Oh, definitely. Just beating out Sam for that last spot to make the chase was the final 4 was a great accomplishment by me, because I'm not one of the fastest guys, but somehow I can make it to the finals.
Well, it was a pleasure watching you. I want to talk to you a little bit about pit strategy there. We saw a lot going on in terms of the different pit strategies. Who were you racing specifically? Were you racing the leaders, or were you racing the guys in the championship for?
Basically the championship, and I figured with Adam and Jacob was so far ahead, I was just trying to beat Alvarez for 3rd, and that's why he stayed out, because I only had one more set of tires, so I was trying to time it right, just in case for a yellow.
All right, Randy. Well, thanks for talking to us. It was a pleasure watching your race here, and congrats on the 3rd place championship finish.
Oh, thanks a lot.
All right, so that'll be it for there. And now let's talk to our 2018 All-In Restoration Truck Series champion, Adam de Blasio. Adam, what a race, what a strategy. It all worked out for you, and you took home the biggest trophy of them all here this season. Walk us through not only this race, but how the whole chase went for you.
Started off at Milwaukee, which I don't have the track, so I had to take a provisional. So that started me in a hole. I forgot where we went the next week. I think it was Chicagoland. Finished top 3-ish, I think, and barely moved on. So was happy with that result. And then Texas got in a wreck, got in a hole, and then Martinsville, I think I finished 2nd. I can't remember. But this race was very entertaining with strategy, to say the least.
We saw you racing Jacob Fife, but also the 83 of Guillermo Alvarez. Now, that was an interesting one for us to watch, but did you know what was going on back there? Because we were certainly perplexed as to what his strategy was, but it almost worked out had the race been about 20 laps shorter.
So in this series, you have a tire limit of 3 sets, and that second caution, I think it was second caution, we all came in, Fife, Randy, and I, of the 3 out of 4 chasers, we came in, took tires, and Guillermo stayed out. So I had to think how to minimize any damages should a late race caution happen, because Guillermo would have an extra set of tires over us. So I ended up running the truck almost out of fuel. I went the maximum number of laps I could on a tank, and then I pitted for 4 tires and fuel. And then should that caution come out, I hustled it to Guillermo and caught him to try to pass him. And then knowing that there was about 20 laps left or 15 laps left, I don't know how much time was left in the race, Guillermo had an extra set of tires, so should a caution come out, he was going to be on new tires. So I decided to back down the pace and not drive the corners hard to preserve the tires should we get a late race yellow, so that I can take off on a restart and potentially hold them off with new tires. And then once 5 to go came along, then caution ends the race, so I decided just to drive.
Well, drive you did, and you walked away with the championship. Adam, congratulations on the championship trophy. Certainly walked in here and absolutely dominated that race from a pace perspective over the other 3. So well earned, and we wish you the best in your future racing here in the Integrity Racing League.
Yeah. Real quickly, I want to thank Jacob Fife for putting on this league, James Hudson for sponsoring the series, All in Restoration, Never been there, but heard it's a great place to get a car restored and stuff like that. I want to thank all the admins. This is Fife's last year as owner of Integrity, so we did a little salute to him at the end of the race or after the race. I also want to dedicate this championship to my grandfather, my pop-up. He passed away Friday, and I also won the Cup championship in this league. So he wasn't much of a race fan, but I want to dedicate those 2 championships to him. It's been a tough weekend and week so far. I want to thank my brother for strategies and stuff in other races and bouncing off from ideas, Eric de Blasio. And my 4th Gear Gaming, Polo Brother Racing, and Flat Out Motorsport teammates. And I'm sure I'm forgetting someone, but yeah, it's been a fun season this year. So glad to end it on a high note.
Absolutely, Adam, and of course our condolences to Pop-Up de Blasio there, and awesome that you could win 2 championships a couple days apart. And thanks for talking to us, and we'll hopefully see you next season.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, so that'll round out our interviews here tonight, Finian. But what a season! What a way to end it here. These guys put on a fantastic show each and every week for the 5 weeks we broadcasted for them, Finian. But what a great race strategy-wise here at Homestead.
Yeah, so a bunch of different strategies by nearly all 4 of the championship competitors, and unfortunately for 3 of them, only one guy's strategy came out on top, and that was Adam de Blasio in the 48. Great race, just in general, was at the top of the field. Was pretty much fighting all the other guys throughout the day, but he was always in pretty much the fight for it. So great job by the 48 to get it done.
That'll wrap up our coverage of the 2018 All-In Restoration Truck Series Chase. 5 races, 5 rounds, 1 champion. Adam de Blasio takes it home. Well, we thank you for watching these 5 weeks, and we hope you stick around with us in the future. We got a bunch of fun stuff coming up this week. Tomorrow night, we go GT3 racing at Sebring with Virtual Mars series. And then Thursday, Friday, we're off. Saturday, we're back dirt racing on Saturday evening at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be the Midwest Late Model Racing Series. That'll be at Lima Land for a 125-lap feature. And then that same night, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, that'll be the Virtual Racing League. And where are we for that, Finian? Michigan. For Virtual Racing League. Then Sunday, we're back with 3 wide racing, and that will be the Dirt Triple Crown from Eldora Speedway. So we got a fun stuff coming up here this week. Enjoy your Turkey Day. We'll be back with you tomorrow night with Virtual Mars Racing from Sebring.